So I just sent a message to the second person, and he is a Ghanaian living in Ghana, and so he gave me the correct pronunciation for the name. So I'm going Elikem. Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Uche, and if this is your first time on this channel or you're a returning viewer, you're highly welcome. So guys, in this video I'm going to be reviewing the book His Only Wife by Peace Adzo Medie. So I hope I really pronounced the name correctly. If I didn't, I'm very sorry. So guys, this book tells the story of the heroine of the book, Afi. So Afi is from a poor background and lives with her mom in a late father's family house, and they are poor, they are not rich. So after secondary school, she doesn't go into university. She begins an apprenticeship as a tailor. A chance meeting brings her mom in contact with a woman who is referred to as Auntie in the book. So Auntie is a very wealthy woman, and she is a philanthropist too. So this Auntie sees Afi, and she decides that there should be a marriage between Afi and her own son Elikim. So the thing now is, why Auntie wants this marriage, this union between Afi and her son Elikim, is that Elikim went to Liberia on a business trip one time, and there he met a Liberian woman, and he fell in love with her, and they've been living together. They were not married, but they were in a serious relationship, as it was told in the book. But now the thing is, Elikem's family, that's Auntie and her other sons, they do not like this Liberian, and that's because this Liberian woman is kind of like, she's an independent woman. She's one of those women who have this principles. I would say she's not pushed or driven by sentiment, and she's not going to bend double to please her in-laws or her boyfriend's family. So the Ganyos, that is Auntie and her family, they have a problem with that. So that's why they go to marry Afi. And even on the wedding day, Elikem was not present on the wedding day. Although he gave his approval, it was a marriage by proxy. So his younger brother stood in place for him. So it's something that we do in Africa. It's called marriage by proxy. So even if the husband is not around, probably maybe he's on a business trip or is outside the country, he's not available for the wedding on that particular day. His uncle or his brother or his cousin, any of his relatives that is a male, can stand in for him, and the marriage is still valid. Yeah, the marriage between Elikim and Afi was, I would say, it's a mutually beneficial marriage, because now for Afi is not from a rich background. Afi is poor. Afi and her mom, they just have each other. Apart from their extended family, they only have each other. They have each other's backs. And seeing that her father is dead, so they've been living from hand to mouth kind of. And now a rich man is coming to marry Afi. See how that sounds? Yes. So it was kind of an answered prayer for them. So now this was just an opportunity for them to live better lives, for them to finally move out from poverty, and finally move out from the family house where they were managing, and just be comfortable. And now for Elikem, not Elikem per se, for Elikem's family, that's the Ganyos, it was an opportunity for them to get their son, that's Elikem, to marry someone, a Ghanaian like them, a girl who was docile, someone they could easily manipulate, someone that won't talk back at them, that won't be an obstacle to them in Elikem's life. After the wedding ceremony, Afi moves to Accra, Ghana. So she goes with her mom. So her mom was to stay there with her for, just to get her settled into a new home. So where she's moved to is not Elikem's house per se. It's just the family house, one of their houses in the city. So she stays there for months, and she doesn't get to see her husband, that's Elikem. And there she is, longing, waiting patiently for when he would come, and he finally shows up. And their first meeting, I was looking forward to, the way it's written, you just anticipate. So you keep anticipating, when are these two people finally going to meet? And when they met at first, oh my god, I was so excited reading that part. I think I had to go through it again for the second time so that, I just enjoy it. So Elikem is a handsome young man. Yes, Afi is beautiful too. So, when they met, the initial awkwardness Afi felt, it was described in the book. And then he just comes to just, I'd say hi. She feeds him with his favorite food and all that. And then he leaves and he comes back again. And this time, when he came back again, it was to consummate their marriage. So it's an arranged marriage for sure. So I was feeling there'll be this situation whereby, okay, yes, it's an arranged marriage, but along the line, the characters, they get to fall in love with each other. And yes, and one thing I was able to pick in this particular part, when they were, while they were consummating their marriage, was, you see, there was a time when Elikem decided to go down on her, like for them to have oral sex. While she was in throes of passion, she could not really express herself. She was not really expressive. Like, she had to stifle her moans, and it just brought to mind the fact that for her, if she had just been so expressive and, just screamed as much as she wanted, then she was thinking that Elikem was going to see her as someone that was loose, and it's just a predominant issue here in Africa. So women are not given that freedom to be sexually expressive here in Africa. And that's why you see some cases where there's genital mutilation, where, so that, it's just so crazy. So in some parts of the country, or in some parts of Africa, women are their genitals are actually mutilated, just so they are not in their own mind, so that to prevent these women from being loose, and women are just not allowed to enjoy sex. So that's one aside. So as the story continues, Afi wanted so much to have a normal married life. So she didn't have a normal married life because she wasn't living in her husband's home. Her husband just came once in a while. Like, yeah, like he just came sometimes to just see her, and they would be intimate, and he would go back and he would just come with his clothes. And she, from what she heard from her brother-in-law's girlfriend, this Liberian woman was very much in town. She had a daughter for Elikem already. And the way it was, Elikem was not willing to leave this woman. Even though he wasn't married to her, he was married to Afi, but he wasn't willing to leave this Liberian. So he loved her that much, in as much as the love he felt for the Liberian was downplayed. So, different things Afi's in-laws told her, they were like, this Liberian was ugly, she was wicked, they just kept painting a bad picture of her to Afi. So in Afi's mind, Afi felt like she had to overdo everything, just to, all these things they say women should do to make sure they keep their husbands. So she was doing almost everything, and her mom wasn't even helping matters. So the way it was, her mom didn't want her daughter doing anything that would jeopardize this union with the Ganyos. When the Ganyos came into their life, it was God just buttered their bread. So you know how it was, and you know how it is to lose opportunities. Like, so the mom was having none of it, and she'll keep calling her daughter, telling her do this, do that, all this kind of thing. She'll be collecting live reports from Afi. So Afi had enough of it, as Elikem wasn't willing to, he wasn't budging anytime she asked to move in with him. I mean, they were married now, but he wasn't budging. He didn't want that kind of conversation. Even when she would, bring up topic about the Liberian woman, he wasn't having any of it. So she does something crazy. She moves out of the house. She goes back to her mom in the village. Her in-laws were thinking it was just one of those tantrums, and they would just order her back, go back to your husband's house, and she would carry her things and go back. So let's get this clear. Afi was living very fine in Ghana, in Accra, Ghana. So she was living a very good life. She had her own driver, and she had wanted to learn fashion designing, so she was learning in one of the best places, and she was well on her way to becoming, a very good fashion designer. And her husband was good to her, if you think about it in that way. So he was nice to her. He let her do everything that she wanted except for move into the house with him. So when she moved back to her mom's house in the village, her mother-in-law, that's auntie, was mad. She was pissed. Yes, she was telling Afi's mom to send Afi back. The thing about auntie was she's very domineering, she's very willful. Like, she just wants her word to be yes and amen, but Afi was having none of that. So Afi stubbornly stood her ground, and in the village with her mom, she found out that she was pregnant. And auntie's punishment to them, just to make Afi change her mind and move back to Accra, was to stop her mom from work, because Afi's mom worked for auntie, that's the Ganyo matriarch. And there was this women's guilds meeting that Afi's mom attended to. So auntie stopped Afi's mom from attending this and even from going to work, just to get her to persuade her daughter to move back to Accra. But Afi gave them an ultimatum. She said she wasn't going back to that house where they kept her in Accra. Or the only reason for her to move back to Accra was if she was going into her husband's house. So that was the ultimatum that she gave them. And so when they found out that, okay, she was pregnant, they had to just, they had to make a compromise. So Eli came back to the village and picked her up, and he deposited her straight into his house. So now this is another part. Both of them begin living as man and wife in the same house. But from that time, the romance I was expecting between both of them, that was when I began to lose hope, because I was expecting so much from their relationship. I was expecting everything. I was expecting the bliss that comes with romance as it's described in books, but it wasn't here between Afi and Elikem. So it was almost like they were never meant to be in the first place. So along the line, Afi gives birth, and she gives birth to a male child. Guys, see, in Africa here, it's sad to think, but in Africa here, male children, they are the best kind of children someone can have. So if she had given birth to a female child, they might just have looked at her like, okay, she just has a child. The other Liberian woman has a child, has a daughter for Elikem too. But this time around, Afi gave birth to a son. So for her to have given birth to a son, it just kind of, it was as if it solidified her presence in her husband's life and in her husband's home. Like, it just made her the real legal wife. Because now the way it is, if you're married and you and your husband do not have any children yet, okay, you're a wife in name. As it is in Africa, you're a wife, okay, in name only. But once you give birth to a child, and you give birth to a female child, okay, she has a child for him already. But when you give birth to a male child, you are now legal. Forget what they wrote in the paper. You are now a legal Mrs. So that's the mentality here in Africa. And since time immemorial, people have tried to change it and protest against it. And but you know how it is. It is a patriarchal society here in Africa. It's so saddening, but this is the reality that we face. That is why I can so much relate to this book. Afi continues living with her husband and her child, but just this thing, like, everything was not complete. Her happiness was not complete, and she had finished training with the woman she was receiving training under for fashion designing business. And now she had her own store. She was, in Ghana, she was already making it. She was making waves already, but it just wasn't complete, because now there was still this issue of the Liberian woman. At a point in time, Afi kind of believed that, oh, she was now the real wife, although there was no white wedding there, so it was not on certificate yet. It was just the traditional wedding that they did in the village, and it wasn't even Elikem that was there, so it was still the marriage by proxy that made that seem as if she was the wife. But the way it was as if it was even Afi that was the mistress, while the Liberian woman was the real wife. Even though the Liberian woman, she was not married to Elikem. So a chance meeting just revealed everything. So the person that was, feeding her with information most times, giving her the truth, the undiluted truth, was a brother-in-law's girlfriend. Just one particular time, towards the ending of the book, Afi goes to, because I said earlier that she had already made it big in the fashion industry in Ghana. So she was, making doing photo shoot with models, showcasing all the things she had designed and gotten from other designers. Go to this a different part of the city, and there everything was revealed to her. The lies, the betrayal, God, it was just so crazy. Like, even when she had even told Elikem about this, when everything became revealed, I'm not going to give you spoilers here, so I do not spoil the book for you. I would just like you to read it and really see, experience it by your own self. So what was just so crazy about this story was that she had been living a life for the longest time possible. Like, her giving birth, it did not change anything. Her being the one that her in-laws chose, her in-laws were okay with her, even though auntie was, that's her mother-in-law, was still angry at her because she had defied her and moved out of her husband's house in the beginning against her instruction. So she was still angry with her. But with the birth of the son, it just made them think, okay, we didn't make a mistake by choosing Afi in the first place to be Elikem's wife. So they tried all their best to get rid of this Liberian woman, but Elikem loved her that much. So when everything got revealed, it was just so crazy. And from that point, I felt so sad because I was really, 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 really rooting for Elikem and Afi, but I guess that's just what the author just wanted us to feel. This book is actually written by a Ghanaian. So for the longest time, if you check my videos on my channel, I've been reviewing books written by Nigerians majorly, and it's not because I'm biased or anything. But one thing that caught my interest with this book was the title is Only Wife. So there were things that I was expecting. I was expecting marriage, of course, and so that was what prompted me to start reading in the first place. Yes, I was feeling okay, this would be a good read, but I did not know that I was going to enjoy this book as much as I did enjoy this book. It was wow. And this should be the third book that I'm reading that's written by a Ghanaian. The first book I read was Sons and Daughters, and that's a play by J.C. DeGraft. While the second book, I read it in secondary school because it was part of our reading syllabus in senior secondary school. Um, while we were studying literature in English. It was A Woman in a Prime by Asari Konadu, and my classmates and I, we loved that book so much. And even one of our classmates even had to adopt the name of the heroine of the book, Pokua. So we loved the book so much. And now rereading His Only Wife, guys, this book, you should not sleep on it. If you've not read this book, go and read it. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but anytime I recommend a book for you here, guys, you should read it because the book is very, very interesting. Like, this book is just everything and more. Like, I had butterflies so much in my stomach. Like, I was really, really rooting for the romance in this book. And at the end of the book, yes, this book is a sad book. It left me with a sad feeling because what I expected to be wasn't it at the end. And there was just this loneliness in the voice that was narrating the story. So it's actually Afi's voice. So this book is written in the first person singular. So there's a lot of I. So this story is told from Afi's perspective, and she's the heroine of the book, like I've said earlier. So I just had this sad feeling. So this book also brought out some issues that we face here in Africa. So now there's this issue where people give birth to children that they cannot take care of. Now look at Afi's Uncle Pius in the first place. He has about three wives or so, and he has children. And then he goes to, you go troubling your relatives, go troubling your brother and sisters with your children. You give birth to your children, by all means take care of them. If you know you do not have the capacity to take care of your children, don't consider family planning. Yes, that's what you should do. Just consider family planning. And the crazy thing about this is when these relatives, when they refuse to take care of these children, or to take in these children because they don't want to, they'll blame these relatives and look at them like bad people. But the finger points more at the wife, so everybody is feeling, oh, this wife is a bad woman. We married you in, and you are doing this. You don't want your relatives to stay with you. You are wicked, that kind of thing. So this finger points at the wife, just like it happens in Afi's family with her mom and her dad. When her dad dies, I mean, it was very, very bad for Afi and her mom. And they didn't have anything. There was no savings. Dad didn't leave any savings for them, so they had to move back to the family house. And even at that, the Uncle Pa was kind of like the elder in the family, so he didn't even give them a room. So they had to squat with one of the wives that was close to Afi's mom. And you know that was just where they just descended into poverty. So there was a reversal of fortune for Afi and her mom. And Afi, that was attending a private school before, by the time she moved back to the family house, she was now attending a public school. So I think you can understand why when auntie, that's Mrs. Ganyo, came with this proposal for Afi to marry her son Elikem, you see why they just jumped at the opportunity. Because you know it was Afi marrying into a wealthy family. And yes, it was good for them, because Afi succeeded in building a house for her mom, so they were living okay. And even without the Ganyos, like even after everything, they were still okay and comfortable, and you could even call them rich. So another part that I could relate with totally was the wedding ceremony between Afi and I would say Elikem, because that was how it was actually supposed to be. Just that Elikem was not available at that time. So the way everything was described, Ghana, they just have this rich culture, and their culture is very similar to ours. I remember reading about wedding ceremony between Afi and Elikem, and I was so excited about it because, okay, yes, this is part of my reality also. And I remember going to meet a colleague of mine who is a Ghanaian, but he has lived in Nigeria all his life. So I went to meet him and I was asking, oh, is this how people do it? I was so excited, and I was like, it's just the same thing. Like, this is happening in Ghana, this happens in Nigeria. And I think the previous weekend I'd gone for a friend's wedding introduction. And I was one of those people that was brought out to ask the groom, is this your wife? And the guy said, no. Okay. No problem. So that culture is actually so beautiful. I enjoyed reading that part so much. It was so colorful, and I could picture it in my head. This book has 13 chapters, and it just takes you straight to the point. I just love the fact that everything was just there was no long story or unnecessary use of words to just make it more. Everything was just straight to the point. The author, Peace, was hitting everything. And from the very beginning, from the very first paragraph of this book, you would know what to expect. So yes, it was just straightforward. You would know from the very beginning that they were talking about an arranged marriage. Another point that was actually hinted at was the issue of polygamy. So Elikem didn't have any issue marrying the two women, but Afi didn't want that, because now should be the second wife, should be the second option, should be the second choice, because it was very obvious that Elikem loved this Liberian woman more than he would ever love her. So it was that crazy, guys. As it concerns Afi's apprenticeship as a fashion designer, both in the village and when she got to the city, that's Accra, I loved how it was compared. And yes, there was a time I actually wanted to learn fashion designing so much, so I could relate to the comparison there. So there's always a difference. While she was learning in the village, she was saddled with fetching water for her madam, or the lady she was an apprentice to. she was fetching water, cleaning everywhere. But while she was in the city, it was actually quite different. So the things were done more professionally, and it was just nice to read. And another part that I loved so much, that I'll actually commend this author for writing, was the sex scenes. So yes, the sex scenes, they were not raw and exaggerated. They were just, yes, straight to the point, but you would classify it as lovemaking. And I do not know why I just keep comparing it to um Sylvia Day's Bed to You. God, it's not as if I hate the book Bed to You, that's in the Crossfire series. But anytime I just come across a sex scene in any novel, and I'm feeling that the author actually did well with the sex scene, I just keep comparing it to Sylvia Day's Bed to You. Because now in this book, there was nothing exaggerated, there was nothing raw. It was just, it wasn't soft, so to speak, but it was just, it's just something that welcomes you in when you're reading. It's not something that you cringe from. It was just, that was just how it was. I don't have any words for it, so it was just like that. So guys, this book is actually, oh my god, this book was so good. I loved reading this book so much. With reading this book, I had to disturb two of my Ghanaian friends. I remember sending the first one to give me a pronunciation of the name Elikem, that's Afi's husband, and the voice note he sent to me, I felt, no, you did not pronounce this thing all right. I don't understand my problem. And he was looking at me like, okay. I'm like, yes, because you are a Ghanaian living in Nigeria, and he has lived in Nigeria almost all his life. So I was feeling he was more of a Nigerian now. The Nigerianness was already too much in him. The So I just sent a message to the second person, and he is a Ghanaian living in Ghana, and so he gave me the correct pronunciation for the name. So I'm going Elikem. So yes, so I enjoyed this book so much. It was one of my best reads. I actually read it in December 2020, so it was one of my best reads for 2020. Guys, this book was just, it was just everything. I read it quickly, and I know when I got to the last part of the book, I cried. Yeah, the book was so emotional for me. I cried because the last paragraph of the book, it was just, the voice was just so lonely. It was, this longing. There was just this longing in the voice, and I was feeling, oh, and I was crying. I was not crying too much, but I was crying. I just felt so sad. And I know I had to take a break from reading for like a day or two, because I just wanted to just get used to loneliness and just try and move on. So guys, I'll give it a 5/5. This book was just perfect. It was the perfect story. Like, it just embodies everything that concerns Africans. So if you're a fan of African literature, you should read this book. Do not sleep on this book, guys. Do not sleep on this book. I'm telling you now, don't sleep on this book. Like, this book is everything and more. You would enjoy this book so much. If you don't enjoy this book, just come back and come and tell me, so let me know what your problem is. Because if you don't enjoy this book, then the problem is from you, not from the author or from the book. So guys, thank you so much. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you've read this book and you feel this book is actually a good read too, let me see your comments in the comment section down below. Let's gist about this book. Me, I like to gist about books too. Let's gist about this book. If once you comment, I'm going to respond to you, and we'll gist the issues that are raised in this book too. Do you agree with them? Have you experienced them before? If you're an African, and even if you're not an African, is it something that's just alien to your culture? Is it something that's just an African thing when it comes to the issue of polygamy? Family members passing off their responsibility to you, and this sense of entitlement that relations feel when it comes to you taking care of their children. Is it just an African thing, or it's a human being thing, or it's a world thing? So I'd like to hear what you think in the comment section down below. So guys, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and please subscribe. The numbers are increasing, but we need to increase the family also. Yeah, we need to expand. So guys, I'll see you in my very next video. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Bye.